My wife refused to pay for my life-saving surgery and told the doctor as she walked out, "I won't pay for a broken husband. I'm not throwing good money after bad." I lay there in silence. 3 days later, she came back for her watch and froze at the door. I couldn't feel my legs. That was the first thing I noticed when I woke up in Northwestern Memorial Hospital. Not the pain, not the beeping machines, not the IV in my arm, just the absence. The terrifying, suffocating absence of sensation below my waist. Dr. Anika Patel stood at the foot of my bed, tablet in hand, expression carefully neutral. In that way doctors learn when delivering bad news. "Mr. Hayes," she said, voice professional but not unkind, "you suffered a severe spinal compression fracture at the L2 vertebra when your vehicle was struck. The impact caused bone fragments to compress your spinal cord." My throat was dry. "Can you fix it?" "Yes, but we need to operate within 24 hours. After that, the nerve damage becomes permanent." She swiped her tablet. "The surgery requires specialized titanium hardware and a neurosurgeon. Dr. Richard Chen, 18 years experience, one of the best in the Midwest. Unfortunately, he's out of network for your insurance. The out-of-pocket cost is significant." "How significant?" $214,000. The number hit me like a second car crash. "But I'll walk?" I asked. "If we operate today, you have an 87% chance of regaining full mobility. If we wait past 24 hours, that drops to less than 5%. After 48 hours, it's essentially zero." I closed my eyes, did the math. We had maybe 60,000 in savings. The house had equity. Victoria's trust fund had another 100,000 we could access. "Do it," I said. "My wife has access to everything. She'll handle the financials." Dr. Patel nodded. "I'll speak with her now. She's in the waiting room." She stepped into the hallway. The door didn't close all the way. One of those pneumatic hinges that took forever. Through the gap, I heard voices. "Mrs. Hayes, your husband needs immediate surgery or he'll be paralyzed permanently. We need financial authorization." 200,000? Victoria's voice was sharp. Business sharp. The tone she used with contractors. "That's the out-of-pocket?" $214,000, yes. The insurance covers the hospitalization and basic stabilization, but the neurosurgeon and the implants are excluded. We need authorization within the next 6 hours to schedule for tonight." Victoria laughed. Not a nervous laugh, not a shocked laugh. A cold, calculating laugh I'd only heard her use once before, when she'd fired her assistant for using the wrong font in a presentation. "And if the surgery doesn't work?" she asked. "I drop $250,000 and he's still in a wheelchair?" "Mrs. Hayes," Dr. Patel's voice tightened, "this is your husband's mobility we're discussing, not a speculative investment." "Everything is a speculative investment, doctor." Victoria's tone turned to ice. "I'm in the middle of closing the biggest deal of my career, a luxury real estate development in River North. If I liquidate assets now, I jeopardize the timeline. My investors are watching. Your husband is watching too, from a hospital bed, paralyzed. Temporarily," Victoria corrected. "You said stabilization is covered, so stabilize him. Give him pain medication, physical therapy. We'll figure out the rest later." "There is no later, Dr. Patel said, and I could hear the anger now. "If we don't operate within 24 hours, he will never walk again. Do you understand that?" Silence. Long, suffocating silence. My heart monitor started beeping faster. Then Victoria spoke, her voice cold and final. "I won't pay for a broken husband, doctor. I'm not throwing good money after bad. If he's paralyzed, we'll get him a wheelchair. I can retrofit the house for cheaper than 200,000. I felt tears slide from the corners of my eyes, running into my ears. "You're refusing care for your husband?" Dr. Patel sounded disgusted. "I'm refusing to be extorted by an out-of-network surgeon. There are other options. Give Liam pain medication. Keep him stable. Don't call me unless he's actually dying." Her heels clicked away down the corridor, confident, unconcerned. The same sound they made on our marble foyer at home. "My name is Liam Hayes. I'm 34 years old. I worked as an architect for a mid-size firm in Chicago, and until 47 minutes ago, I'd been married to Victoria Ashford Hayes for 6 years. We'd met at a gallery opening in the West Loop. She'd been standing in front of a Rothko, champagne in hand, explaining color field theory to a group of admirers. She was brilliant, beautiful, magnetic. I'd fallen in love that night. Looking back, I think she'd just seen potential. A stable professional with good earning prospects and no family money to complicate things. Someone who'd support her ambitions without competing. For 6 years, I'd been exactly that, the supportive husband. The one who attended her investor dinners and smiled at her real estate colleagues and never complained when she worked until midnight or flew to Miami for a weekend strategy session. I'd been convenient, until I became inconvenient. Dr. Patel returned to my room 5 minutes later. Her face was pale, angry. "Mr. Hayes, I'm sorry. Your wife has declined to authorize the surgery." I heard. Her expression shifted to surprise. The door didn't close. I heard everything. She sat down in the chair beside my bed, pulled off her glasses, rubbed her eyes like she was trying to erase the conversation. "In 23 years years of practicing medicine, she said quietly. I've never had a spouse refuse life-changing surgery for financial reasons when the money was clearly available. I've had insurance denials. I've had families without resources. But this? She shook her head. I'm going to be honest with you, Mr. Hayes. Your wife just chose money over your ability to walk. That's not a marriage. That's a business arrangement where you just became a liability. Can you do the surgery anyway? I asked. Not without authorization and payment. The hospital won't take on that risk. So I'm just, what? Stuck? I'm making calls, seeing if there are options. But Liam, she used my first name. That's how I knew it was bad. You need to prepare yourself for the possibility that you may never walk again. She left. I stared at the ceiling tiles, counted them. 63 visible from my bed. 63 acoustic tiles between me and the rest of my life in a wheelchair. My phone was on the rolling table beside me. I could call someone. My sister Emma, my old college roommate. My parents were gone, but I had friends. But what would I say? My wife won't pay to fix my spine because it's bad for her quarterly returns? 20 minutes later, Victoria appeared in my doorway. She looked perfect. Hair styled, makeup flawless, designer suit that probably cost more than the deductible on my surgery. She had her phone in one hand, already texting someone. I kept my eyes closed, pretended to sleep. Liam, she said softly. No response. Good, he's sleeping. She walked closer. I could smell her perfume. Tom Ford, $340 a bottle. I'd bought it for her last Christmas. Figure this out, she whispered, probably thinking I couldn't hear. I can't have this drag me down. I have a reputation to maintain. Investors are watching. They can't see weakness. She patted my hand once, the way you'd pat a dog, then she left. I opened my eyes and stared at the ceiling, counted the tiles again, still 63. An hour later, Dr. Patel burst back into my room, face flushed. You're back on the schedule, she said quickly. Surgery's in 4 hours. We're prepping the OR now. What? How? An anonymous donor covered the full cost. $214,000 wired directly to the hospital. The surgery's happening. Who? Anonymous means anonymous, she said, but she was smiling. But between you and me, someone was watching your case. Someone who believes your life is worth saving even if your wife doesn't. The surgery took 9 hours. I woke up at 3:47 a.m. with Dr. Chen, the neurosurgeon, mid-50s, calm eyes, pinching my right foot. Can you feel this? He asked. I concentrated. There, faint, like a signal from another galaxy, was sensation. Yes, I croaked. Good. He moved to the other foot. And this? Yes, he exhaled. The hardware is in place. The compression is relieved. You've got nerve connection. Now it's just a matter of time and physical therapy. I'll walk? If you work your ass off in rehab? Yes. If you give up? No. It's up to you now. My sister Emma showed up the next morning. She'd driven from Milwaukee the moment she heard about the accident. 3 hours in the middle of the night, face puffy from crying. Where's Victoria? She asked, looking around the room. Gone. Gone where? Just gone. Emma's face hardened. She'd never liked Victoria, called her the ice queen behind her back, said Victoria treated people like chess pieces. I'd always defended my wife. Not anymore. Show me her Instagram, I said. Emma pulled out her phone, pulled up Victoria's account. Victoria, Ashford Luxury, 47,000 followers, all perfectly curated wealth porn. The most recent post was from yesterday. Victoria on a yacht, champagne glass raised, golden hour lighting making her look like she'd stepped out of Vogue. The caption read, "Sometimes life throws curveballs, taking time to reset and refocus on what matters. Self-care, resilience, luxury lifestyle." 3,000 likes, 200 comments praising her strength. No mention of her husband, no mention of the hospital, no mention that her curveball was my spine shattering while she chose real estate deals over my ability to walk. Something inside me broke. Not loud, not dramatic, quiet, like a tether being cut. Get me a lawyer, I said. Emma's face lit up. Already done. I called Laura Mitchell last night. 16 years family law, specializes in high net worth divorces. She's coming this afternoon. I want everything documented. The refusal of medical care, the abandonment, everything. She said you'd say that. She's already drafting. Laura Mitchell arrived at 2 p.m. Sharp blazer, sharper eyes, the kind of lawyer who could smell blood in the water from 3 states away. Mr. Hayes, she said, setting her briefcase down, your sister gave me the overview. What your wife did, refusing life-saving medical care for financial reasons when she had clear access to funds, that's not just cruel. In Illinois, that could constitute spousal abandonment, possibly even reckless endangerment depending on how we frame it. I want a divorce. I want it documented, and I want it public. Public as in, I want people to know what she did. I want her investors to know, her followers, everyone. Laura smiled. I can work with that. But first, I need documentation. Do you have any record of her refusal? Dr. Patel heard everything. Perfect. I'll depose her. We'll also need bank records showing you had accessible funds. And I'll need you to sign an authorization for me to access your medical records. She pulled out papers. I signed them with shaking hands. One more thing, Laura said. Does your wife have significant significant assets separate from marital property? She has a trust fund, about $800,000, and she's the primary investor in her real estate firm. Good, because in Illinois, we can go after separate property in cases of extreme misconduct. What she did? That's extreme. For 3 days, I lived in that hospital room. Physical therapy started within 24 hours of surgery. Brutal, agonizing sessions where therapists made me try to wiggle my toes, flex my ankles, engage muscles that felt like they'd been disconnected. My primary PT was Marcus Rodriguez, 32, former college athlete who'd torn his ACL 3 times. He understood pain. Your body is relearning pathways, he explained on day 2, watching me struggle to lift my right leg 2 inches off the bed. The signals are there. The nerves are reconnected. You just have to teach your brain how to use them again. It hurts. Good. Pain means you're alive. Pain means the nerves work. Push through it. By day 3, I could stand. Barely. Legs trembling, gripping parallel bars with white knuckles, sweat pouring down my face. But I could stand. Emma documented everything. Photos of me in PT, video of my first steps. She was building a case without me even asking. Victoria texted, Emma said on the afternoon of day 3, looking at her phone with disgust. She says she's coming today. Needs to pick up her Cartier watch. She left it in her overnight bag when she visited. Visited was generous. She'd been here for 17 minutes after the accident before leaving for her emergency investor meeting. When? I asked. An hour. Perfect. Help me up. Emma looked at me. What are you planning? Symmetry. Marcus helped me position myself by the window. I locked my knees, focused every ounce of concentration on staying upright. My legs screamed. My spine felt like it was being twisted by invisible hands. But I stood. Hide the wheelchair, I told Emma. She shoved it into the bathroom, closed the door. You're insane, she said. But I love it. Let her in when she knocks, then stand back. At 4:23 p.m., Victoria walked in. She wore confidence like armor. Prada suit, Louboutin heels, hair blown out perfectly. She had her phone in one hand, already halfway through typing something. Liam, I'm here to grab my... She froze. The bed was empty. Made. Hospital corners perfect. I was standing by the window, upright, dressed in real clothes, jeans and a t-shirt Emma had brought from home. Sunlight streamed through the glass behind me, probably making me look more dramatic than I felt. Liam, Victoria's voice climbed an octave. You're walking? Standing, I corrected. My voice was cold, steady. Walking comes next week, but yes, surprising what modern medicine can do when someone actually pays for it. Her eyes darted around the room, confused, calculating. She spotted her Louis Vuitton overnight bag on the chair, the Cartier watch sitting on top, rose gold, $18,000. I'd bought it for her 40th birthday. What's going on? She asked, aggression replacing shock. I came to take you home. We need to discuss your recovery plan. She reached for the watch. Emma stepped forward and slapped a manila envelope down on top of it, trapping Victoria's hand underneath. You've been served, Emma said with undisguised satisfaction. Divorce papers, spousal abandonment, medical neglect, and a temporary restraining order. Victoria's face went white. A restraining order? I'm your wife. You were my wife, I said quietly. But you stopped being that when you told the doctor I wasn't worth saving. I let go of the windowsill, took one shaky step toward her. My legs nearly gave out, but I forced them to hold. Victoria instinctively stepped back. The power shifted. You could feel it in the air, like barometric pressure dropping before a storm. That paper is Exhibit A, I continued, taking another step. Dr. Patel's testimony is Exhibit B, the anonymous donor who actually saved my life. They're willing to testify about why they had to step in. That's Exhibit C. You can't do this, Victoria hissed. I'll destroy you in court. I have resources, lawyers. You'll what? I asked. Tell the judge you refused to authorize life-saving surgery because it was bad for your quarterly margins? Tell your investors that you left your husband to be paralyzed for life because your River North deal was more important? Her jaw clenched. My lawyer is very good, I said. She specializes in high-net-worth divorces, knows exactly how to make sure this story gets told. To the judge, to your investors, to every single one of your 47,000 Instagram followers. Victoria's face twisted. You wouldn't. I already did. Check your mentions. She grabbed her phone, scrolled frantically. Emma had posted the photo 1 hour ago. Me, in physical therapy, gripping the parallel bars, legs shaking, face contorted with effort. The caption read, My brother is relearning to walk after his wife refused to pay for his life-saving surgery, but a stranger believed his life was worth saving. Real resilience. The post had been shared 2,000 times. Comments were flooding in. Angry comments. Disgusted comments. People asking for Victoria's name. You tagged me, Victoria whispered, voice shaking. You fucking tagged me. Emma tagged you, I corrected. I was too busy learning to stand. Victoria looked at Emma with pure hatred. You vindictive bitch. That's Mrs. Vindictive Bitch, Emma replied cheerfully. And you should probably read some of those comments. Your investors are very curious serious about your priorities. Victoria scrolled. Her face went from white to gray. This is slander, she said. I'll sue for defamation. It's truth, I interrupted. We have documentation. Dr. Patel's notes. The financial records showing we had accessible funds. Your text to your assistant 3 hours after my accident saying, can't let personal drama derail the River North close. Handle this quietly. We have everything. Victoria's hands shook. The phone nearly slipped from her fingers. I want my watch, she said finally, voice small, defeated. I looked at the Cartier, the watch I'd saved for 3 months to buy, the watch she'd worn twice before saying it didn't go with most of her outfits. I picked it up. You want this? I asked. She reached out eagerly. Yes. I opened my fingers. The watch hit the tile floor. The crystal face shattered. Rose gold links scattered. The mechanism stopped ticking. Oops, I said, voice flat. Broken, just like you wanted me. Victoria stared at the shattered watch, at the pieces glittering on the floor like diamonds, at the evidence of everything she'd chosen over me lying in fragments. You're going to pay for that, she said, but her voice had no power behind it. No, I replied. You already paid. You just don't know how much yet. Laura Mitchell appeared in the doorway. Perfect timing. Emma had texted her the moment Victoria arrived. Mrs. Hayes, Laura said professionally, I'm Liam's attorney. I need you to vacate this room immediately. The restraining order prohibits you from being within 500 feet of my client. This is his hospital room. Exactly. So leave. Victoria grabbed her bag, stepped over the shattered watch, didn't even look at it. She paused at the door, turned back. I could have loved you, she said, if you just stayed perfect. I was never perfect, I replied. I was just convenient. There's a difference. She left. Emma closed the door behind her, locked it. Then both she and Laura started laughing. Laura stopped, composed herself. That was the most savage thing I've witnessed in 16 years of divorce law. Did we get what we need? I asked. Everything. Her admission that she wanted the watch, her reaction to the restraining order, her implicit acknowledgement that she refused to pay for your surgery by not denying it. Laura grinned. This is going to be the easiest case of my career. The next 2 weeks were a blur. Physical therapy intensified. I graduated from standing to walking with assistance to walking on my own. Slow, painful, but walking. Dr. Chen checked my progress every 3 days. You're recovering faster than 90% of my patients. That's determination or rage. Probably both. Probably, I agreed. The divorce case moved forward like a freight train. Laura filed everything. Spousal abandonment, medical neglect, breach of fiduciary duty. Because in Illinois, spouses have a legal obligation to care for each other. Financial misconduct, because Victoria had used marital funds for her business ventures while refusing to use them for my medical care. Victoria hired a lawyer, Malcolm Price, 63, 35 years of high-stakes family law. He tried to negotiate. Laura shut him down. Your client left my client to be permanently paralyzed while she attended investor meetings, Laura told him on a recorded call. There is no negotiation. There's a courtroom. Choose your date. Malcolm tried a different approach. Called me directly. Breach of ethics. But he was desperate. Liam, please, be reasonable. Victoria made a mistake. She panicked. She's willing to compensate you for medical expenses and she told a doctor I wasn't worth saving. I interrupted. That's not panic. That's calculation. See you in court. I hung up. The preliminary hearing happened 4 weeks after the accident. I walked into the courtroom without assistance. Slow, careful, but independent. Judge Margaret Brennan presided. 61 years old, 27 years on the bench, reputation for zero tolerance for bullshit. Victoria sat at the defendant's table looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. Her perfect armor had cracked. Judge Brennan reviewed the evidence. Dr. Patel's testimony, the hospital's financial records, the anonymous donor's affidavit, still anonymous, but their lawyer confirmed they'd paid specifically because Victoria had refused. Malcolm Price tried to argue that Victoria had been under stress, that she'd made an emotional decision in a crisis, that she deserved compassion. Judge Brennan cut him off. Counselor, your client had 24 hours to authorize life-saving surgery. She instead chose to attend a business meeting and post vacation photos on Instagram. That's not stress. That's sociopathy. She ruled in my favor on every preliminary motion. Spousal abandonment, granted. Medical neglect, granted. Asset freeze on Victoria's separate property, granted pending final judgment. Victoria tried to speak. Your Honor, Be quiet, Judge Brennan said sharply. You'll have your chance at trial, but I've seen enough evidence to know exactly what kind of person you are, and it's not impressive. The trial was set for 3 months later, but Victoria never made it that far. 2 weeks after the preliminary hearing, her real estate deal collapsed. Her investors, having seen Emma's viral post and the subsequent news coverage, pulled out. They released a statement. We cannot, in good conscience, partner with someone who values profit margins over human life. Her company folded. The River North development sold to a competitor. Victoria lost everything she'd refused to risk for my surgery. She tried to reach out, left voicemails, emails, even showed up at Emma's house once. Emma called the police. The restraining order held. one voicemail I kept. Played it for Laura and Emma one evening while we were reviewing final settlement terms. Victoria's voice, broken and desperate. Liam, please, I lost everything. My business, my reputation. I'm being evicted. I need help. You won, okay? You won. Just please, please don't leave me with nothing. Emma looked at me. What are you gonna do? I thought about it. About Victoria standing in the hospital hallway telling Dr. Patel I wasn't worth saving. About her champagne toast on Instagram while I learned to wiggle my toes. Nothing, I said. I'm going to do exactly what she did. Leave her with what she deserves. The final settlement was brutal. Victoria got $50,000 from the marital assets, enough to start over somewhere else. I got the house, the retirement accounts, and $400,000 from her trust fund in compensation for medical neglect. Malcolm Price advised her to take it. You go to trial, the judge will give you nothing. Take this and disappear. She signed. 6 months after the accident, I was walking normally, working part-time, rebuilding. I never found out who the anonymous donor was, but 3 months after the settlement, I got a letter at my office. No return address. Handwritten. Mr. Hayes, you don't know me, but I was in the hospital the day of your surgery. I overheard your wife's conversation with Dr. Patel in the hallway. I'm a retired nurse. I've seen a lot of cruelty in hospitals over 40 years, but never that. I paid for your surgery because I believed your life was worth saving, because I couldn't live with myself if I let you become paralyzed while I had the means to help. I don't want recognition. I don't want repayment. I just wanted you to know you mattered to a stranger more than you mattered to your wife, and that's not a reflection on you. It's a reflection on her. Live well. A friend. I read that letter 20 times. Then I framed it and hung it in my home office, right above my desk, because it reminded me of something important, that worth isn't determined by the people who refuse to see it. It's determined by the strangers who recognize it without being asked. Victoria lost everything she'd chosen over me, and I gained something she'd never understand. Proof that I was worth saving, even when she decided I wasn't.